this meeting to order. Council Vice President DeGirolamo, if you wouldn't mind reading the Open Public Meeting Act statement, please.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of September 11th, 2018 was included in a notice sent to newspapers of record and posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Okay, go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. And before we begin the invocation, there is no invocation this evening, just a pledge. Before we begin, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the victims of 9/11 and resident Jim Tersigny and our CFO Merlo's mother-in-law who had passed away this week, Patricia McMahon. So. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Roll call vote, please.
Council President Phillipsburg.
Here.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo.
Here.
Councilman Lutz.
Here.
Councilman McVeigh.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Okay, before we begin, folks, as reiterated, this is a work session, which means there is no action being taken by law in our work session. I also would like to reiterate the fact that it is okay to clap. I would appreciate it if you would show everyone courtesy and not boo if you disagree with their opinion. I also would ask that we try and maintain civility at all times. Also keep in mind that the mayor is he's a guest this evening at the work session, and he cannot or will not, unless unless you have a question for him and council recognizes him, cannot answer any of your questions. He is more than happy to answer any of your questions during his work hours, during the daytime, and I will be more than happy to assist, as will the rest of council. That being said, if there are any outbursts this evening, I will ask you to leave. If you don't leave, we'll have the police remove you, and we can move forward to public comments.
Alan Amy, 71 Lewis Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Ordinance 2018-13. I'm just asking this simple question to make sure that these kids that participate at the Firth Youth Center don't lose any funds at all for $20,000. And if this eliminates that, that's taken away from our kids. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Amy, just so you're aware, as I just stated to you, deleting the section youth center under this code is strictly because we used to have an executive director or superintendent that worked in dual roles. The prior code made reference to that. We no longer have that, therefore we are removing that from this portion of the town code.
Okay, but as long as they still receive the stipend.
It does not affect the stipend.
Correct.
They got last meeting.
They did just get it. The last meeting we had voted, they got the $20,000.
Very good, thank you.
I'm Joe Miner. I live at 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg. First on 2018-14. This remains unpassed, yet my tax bill includes a $20 for open space. This got ahead of the horse that rented the cart ahead of it. Okay, only, and I still favor, only a specified desired open space is better considered by the redevelopment committee, that's you, along with a specific assessment to pay for such, rather than putting into a fund that it is then distributed in one way or another. Rather, I believe you should have direct control over that little piece, item by item, not funded and then covered by a subcommittee. The next thing, on 2018-13, it should be noted that the town's financial support of the First Street Youth Center is significantly less than last year. Right according to the president of the First Youth Center, who I contacted directly. So we have a direct contradiction I'm pointing out between you and them.
Sure, but the
Good.
paperwork proves that we provided them
After
with $20,000 last
a
year.
reread of 2018-22,
Joe,
yeah,
we provided them with $20,000 last year.
and $35,000 the year before.
No, always $20,000. I've been coming to council meetings since 2006, and they've always gotten $20,000.
Whoa, well then he told me a lie, and you're telling me the truth, or vice versa.
He's a lawyer. No offense, Rich.
Yeah,
You can open.
this is a direct, we have conflict here.
It's okay. I'm friends with him as well. I'll text him
Yeah.
after this meeting.
Okay. Wait, where am I? 22, okay. After a reread of this thing, I first had liked the idea of a receivership, thinking that tenants could establish a receivership and therefore manage their property almost directly. And when I went through how it would work, and I crossed off lines and added stuff, and I was trying to fix it. Then after the full reread, it occurred to me, and I rethought. I believe the Davis plan from last year is vastly superior to this. The large fine forces the mortgage company holder to foreclose, which is really the best way to get rid of a bad piece of property. The owner has a right to ask for a receiver under existing New Jersey law as an alternate to bankruptcy if he wants, but I doubt if he's going to do it. The old plan is really, I didn't like it at first. I thought it was going to discourage buyers, but it's working slowly and surely. Okay, that's done with that one. Now I'm down to, I am assuming that the discussion of the riverfront redevelopment plan tonight is simply focused on the addition of the garbage trucks only. That is the only point, or are we talking about the whole redevelopment?
We're talking about the redevelopment plan as a whole.
As a whole, okay. The amendments that I'm hoping you're considering is keep out no eminent domain, okay? No residential additions. There's an exception for that. I'll get to that. No parking buildings with the same exception. Restore what we have without glitz. I would point out that Mayor Cochran, the first strong mayor, got us an RCA program. Mayor Wyant spent 16 years spending that program to make our town quite pretty. If you look with fresh eyes, we have an attraction. We look like a 50s town in good shape. A little bit of like street sweeping, and it really looked good. There is an absolute need for the 3rd Street Railroad crossing, but it cannot fit the redevelopment plan as written, where it is closed down for access into special apartments. We need that to relieve the congestion in Union Square. That congestion was never heard during the Perone construction. I brought it up at a council meeting and was told it was something for the planning board. I brought it up for the planning board and they told me it was for the council. So we must definitely consider the congestion. and there's Perone Construction's 440 units. Now, the exception that might make it doable is the sewer problem. If you can solve the sewer problem, then you got some place for some new properly placed residential. I would suggest, and this is quite consistent with Modern Maturity for Old Folk magazine it is, that you, a senior complex near the railroad right away, as I've showed a member of council and the mayor such a thing. Coupled with this senior, it has a bunch of advantages and disadvantages, and he will either tell you about it or not when you're in sessions. But along with that, the area backing on the Riverview, what is it called?
Park here?
The Delaware River Park, yeah. That spot would be an excellent or location also for assisted living in a nursing home. They frequently, in places, put the whole thing together. So when seniors move into town, they can go all the way through right up to the funeral homes.
Sure. Your time. You're at your time.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
We'll be here on the same time on the 18th. Is there anyone else?
Sandra Morris at 5 Fairview Heights, and you guys just knew I would be here. I have a question for you. For this redevelopment section on the page 2 of the whereases, number 10, I'm a little confused with the mention of the storage of waste containers and the storage of waste disposal trucks, because in your June 12th work session, there was a discussion and town council agreed to add the words empty. The adjective is not there. I understood just before I left for Scotland that there was another additional first reading with the corrected term empty added to it. So can anyone tell me what happened to that word?
You're reading the 2005 ordinance.
I am looking at, it talks, second page down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Says on April 26, 2018, it talks about the planning board held a public hearing, recommended unanimously via motion made by Mayor Ellis, seconded by Mr. Zwicker, that the town council adopt revisions to the riverfront redevelopment plan. Directly underneath it, number 10, whereas the town council believes that adding the storage of waste containers and the storage of waste disposal trucks as a permitted use in District 6 will further the objectives of the town, as it will encourage the development of business within District 6, and notes that there exist multiple businesses in the vicinity of District 6 or located within District 6 which currently operates trucks and generate truck traffic. That is not a 2005 section.
Okay, I don't,
No, it's okay. She made a mistake. That's fine. And
no, I don't
Yes.
see that in my packet.
whereas, second one.
Well, this whereas is referencing resolution 2005-77.
Okay.
I'll defer. We can
No, I know.
defer to
I think
council.
that might be the second.
Yeah, we'll defer to.
Defer to council.
So to answer your question, the language that you're reading references the plan itself. So this ordinance is adopting the redevelopment plan. And the redevelopment plan, if you go to section 3.9 in the plan, that will be, if the council does adopt this ordinance, the plan is going to be adopted. It refers to empty waste disposal trucks. And
I do not see that in front of me. So the public needs to see the plan that says the word empty, that the town council agreed to add in there, Mr. Weiner.
Okay, I'm just answering your question as to,
No, I understand, and I appreciate that
That's fine.
explanation, but this is a work session. I hope there won't be a vote on it like there was on the June 12th work session where
Ms.
town
Morissette, did
council
you hear me in the
did
very
that.
beginning of this meeting where I had said no action would be taken?
I did, and I
Okay, so that
wanted
means
to
there will
make
be no vote
sure.
taken.
Okay, so I'm going to go into a deeper morass here than perhaps I need to. You talked about how other businesses operate trucks. So are you going to be going and amending other ordinances where it restricts noise, restricts odor, restricts smell, restricts truck traffic per business?
What is your theory behind us doing that?
Well, I'm just curious because the way it stands right now with LMR, even though they are approved as of now, I understand, to be part of the redevelopment program with empty trucks and empty containers, then they would be in violation of those other existing ordinances.
I don't see how, but if we are going to enforce it, then we're going to enforce it across the board, and that's town-wide, which will affect a lot of businesses here in the town of Phillipsburg, including those who will operate during the redevelopment plan when they're redeveloping the area.
The town in the past has taken leeway with some activity with trucks coming through, but that's on a temporary basis.
So you would like me to take leeway with that of the agenda with the redevelopment plan, but not with that of LMR, and would that be correct?
No, I'm suggesting that when the redevelopment plan finally comes through, finally becomes a reality, that perhaps town council at that time should then be looking at those other ordinances that they would be in violation of.
Duly noted.
All right, so at this point, the next time I come to a town council meeting for the redevelopment plan, am I to understand that those words empty will be prior to waste containers as well as waste disposal trucks?
they already are.
Right, it already exists. We voted on it. And in that language, on the plan, it was amended to state empty.
So should this not also reflect that word empty?
Sufficient ordinance
Right.
for reading.
Well, beyond that, the ordinance is just adopting the plan. And in the plan, section 3.9 is titled storage of waste containers or waste container trucks, or however it's phrased in the ordinance. But the verbiage that's in the plan and the ordinance that was adopted by the council specifies empty waste disposal containers and empty waste disposal trucks.
So may I please ask that before the town council meeting, that is shared with the rest of the public so that they can see those paragraphs and ensure that that is the case?
When we have a public hearing on the redevelopment plan, or the ordinance to adopt it, it will be available for you to review.
Thank you so much, Council President. I really appreciate your time and consideration.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Is there anyone else? In 1 second, I believe we have this young lady right here. Yes, ma'am.
The end of the one, fine.
Hi, I'm Robin Coe-Donaldson. I'm here representing the Phillipsburg Downtown Association. I watched the last council meeting tape afterwards and saw that you guys had some questions about Corporal Palooza and if we had insurance. And I'm here to let you know that we do. And I have a certificate.
Okay.
Insurance.
Just so you're aware, this is only on agenda items this evening.
This is it?
And yeah, I did try and speak with Ms. D before.
Okay.
I had returned her message to let her know.
Okay.
She
I
obviously...
never came to one of these, so.
No, that's okay. You're not missing much.
Not a working session or anything.
You're not missing much. What I would do is, since you're already here, if you wouldn't mind just giving it to the clerk, or is it a copy?
Yeah.
You can provide it to Clerk Kleiner and she can take care of that tomorrow. That would be okay.
Do that. All right.
And then our next meeting is on the 18th, and I believe that's when we're hearing for the permit. Not the alcohol permit, but the special use permit.
Yeah. I had
Yes.
a question on that too, but I guess I can't ask that.
You can on the 18th?
I can't unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Sorry about that. Alan Aaron, 71 Lewis Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, on the ordinance of adopting for the Riverview development.
Yes.
When in hell are we going to start this show going?
Well, that's what we're here to discuss this evening, Mr. Amy.
We, the longer we wait, the more dollars we lose.
That's not true.
And,
No, it's not true. It's a misconception.
oh no.
Oh, yes, sir.
The more, oh. Let me, hear me out.
Well, I'm
The
listening.
more dollars this town loses.
Okay.
The more dollars this town loses. We have to get this ball, excuse me, this ball rolling and get this job done. The previous administrations dragged their feet for 16 years. I mean, it's been absolutely ridiculous. And now we have an opportunity to do this and straighten the mess, fix the mess, and bring in more tax dollars and a larger tax base in this community. And it is more than about time it gets done. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Amy.
I'm setting for a sign project. That's because we're good. There's really not a lot of place, and I don't want anybody to look at, so I'm just gonna save this up here for you.
Okay.
Well, there's your redevelopment project. I will ask council if I could please read something just a little
Sure.
personal before I go ahead and speak. Nicole Timmerman, 112 North Riverview Road. I would like to take a minute and petition the public to please think before you type. We currently live in a society where people won't say two words to you in public, but will sit behind their screen and belittle people to the point of tears. How dare you shame me for having an opinion and vision on how I would like my town to look. I'm highly offended at the comments that I need to fact check my statements. My information that I spoke about at the last town council meeting was taken directly from the census and correlates with the demographic information listed on the Town of Phillipsburg webpage. I may not be an overly educated person, but I am educated in a way that I continue to adapt, survive, and prevail. I did do my research before I stood at the podium, spoke before council, and subjected myself to the public scrutiny. I may not share the same vision some people do as to the redevelopment direction the town should take. However, that doesn't make my opinion wrong. I've seen this town try different revitalization projects over the years. Businesses have been given money to repair building facades, new lighting fixtures, and walkways to be more appealing to downtown foot traffic, and the train museum to complement the train tourism. Yet existing downtown buildings and storefronts continue to stay empty. I never once said that I was not in favor of a redevelopment plan for Phillipsburg. I simply stated that I'd like to see it go in a different direction. I would like to see a town rich in history showcase that as our legacy. The generational ties in this community run deep, and if you take a minute to read up on your town history, you will see that there are many family names that are still prevalent in our community to this day. My personal vision for the redevelopment of this town would involve more community-based options. Stop trying to duplicate what many other riverfront towns and cities have already done and do something that will set us apart from everyone else. Give them a reason to come to Phillipsburg they can't get anywhere else. Anyone who wants to do something recreational needs to travel outside of our town to find things to do, i.e. trampoline parks, ice skating, laser tag, indoor rock climbing, etc. We have a population of mothers who have absolutely nothing to do socially with their young children, and teenagers who have no outlet other than to walk the streets and do what bored teenagers do. I am not anti-Mayor Ellis, nor am I anti-Town Council. I am pro-Phillipsburg. I supported the mayor's signs around town. I did not see them as a form of segregation, but as a way to acknowledge the history of our neighborhoods, how our town has grown over the years and continues to grow. I also support council's stance on some of the rental conditions that people are forced to live in. I believe that if we do not hold the property owners accountable, then this town will continue to remain stagnant and depressed. I chose to live in this town, grow my family in this town, and raise my children in this town. I didn't purchase my home with the mindset that this is a good stepping stone. I chose my home with the mindset that this is the neighborhood and community that I want to be a part of. As for the people who want to sit behind their screens and belittle me for the things that I say, everyone is allowed to have a voice, an opinion, and a vision, and I'm choosing to utilize those rights. I implore you to stand at this podium and do the same. As for the redevelopment plan, I'm not sure on the legalities of everything, if the grant money is forcing you to build new buildings, but I'm not exactly sure why we need to build new buildings. I have some pictures here, and I typed up some things. I have something here for council that they can look over, and I also have something for the public that they can look over if they would like to. Just my personal opinion on some of the things that we can be doing with some of the existing historical buildings and architecture that already exists in this town. When you cross over the river, you don't see the building to your right, you don't see the building to your left. You see the building standing right in front of you. That should be the focal point of the town. And then you continue to bring your traffic up South Main Street to what we already have in this town. You're trying to pull people across the river from Easton, people over there at the farmer's market and Garlic Fest and their beer crawls. Don't pull them over here. You have a train. That train runs all year long. There's the mine, there's the Easter Bunny, there's a wine train. I just saw one with a historical towns or historical houses. The Polar Express is huge. With one of the local youth organizations, when we were actually allowed to do it as a fundraiser, we parked cars. People come from Connecticut, New York, Philadelphia, Delaware. They come here, they show up a half an hour before the train, they park their car, they get on the train, they ride the train, they get in their car, they go home. They don't eat, they don't shop, they don't do anything like that. Why are we not drawing those people? You want to build this enterprise down at the Free Bridge and have people come from the train and walk past all of these empty, smelly, dilapidated buildings. For what? If I didn't grow up here, I would be scared to death to walk past that with my children, to go shop down by the river. You need to be bringing it, redevelop down by the river, but that should be your last step. The first step should be redeveloping these buildings with things that we already have here. The one-stop career center, that's ideal for a hotel. There's nothing for these people to stay. There's no reason for them to stay. There's nothing for them to eat. There's nothing for them to do. An open style market in the building that's right next to it. The Riverview Arts Center that sits empty, a microbrew. That's huge right now. Everyone is doing it, and all of the towns that are redeveloping themselves are starting with it. Hackettstown has a huge one. Boonton has numerous ones to the point where they have a festival for it.
Mr. River?
Yes.
Your time is up.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're more than welcome to, if you'd like, I can put you on the agenda for the 18th.
Okay.
I'd like council to take a look at this, but it sounds to me like another perspective is fresh. Have you met with the planning board?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to leave this up here so everybody else can take a look at it.
Sure.
I have no
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
David Morissette, 5 Fairview Heights, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. First of all, I'd like to thank council. I'm thrilled that you guys are discussing the riverfront development plan. This is great. One of the things I just wanted to speak to and on the riverfront development plan, and just get clarification on. It's my understanding that that it's likely that the riverfront development plan won't have eminent domain as part of the plan. And I guess if I could ask Attorney Wenner, just, again, you don't have to answer, obviously. May I ask? Attorney Wenner, when a development plan has eminent domain in it, how does that work? How is it executed?
In the redevelopment context, the plan itself has to be referred from the council to the planning board, and the notice provided has to be a condemnation redevelopment plan. That's in 12A of the redevelopment, local housing and redevelopment law. So this council has to designate either a condemnation redevelopment plan, or a condemnation redevelopment study rather, or a non-condemnation redevelopment study. If it's the former, was referred over to the planning board in that context, the planning board then engages a planner to do the condemnation redevelopment study and determine whether the area meets the criteria set forth in the statute for blighted areas that warrant redevelopment powers, and then beyond that, whether condemnation is an appropriate tool to utilize. If the planning board comes back with a decision that yes, those factors they do exist and it is appropriate, it's referred back to the council. If the council wants to, can then adopt the condemnation redevelopment plan, which reserves unto the municipality the right of eminent domain. You then have to find yourself a redevelopment, or the governing body can act as the redevelopment authority as well. It does not have to be private redevelopment doing the redevelopment work. If it's a private entity doing the redevelopment work, you designate that entity as the redeveloper of the property. You execute a redevelopment plan, which typically then reserves upon the council the right to exercise those powers of eminent domain. In the context of effectuating the redevelopment plan, those are reimbursable municipal costs. So the monies that are expended to acquire the land through eminent domain are reimbursed back to the municipality. Just as we have the redevelopment area bonds, private entities can't go ahead and condemn properties, they can't issue bonds, only the municipality. So the municipality is acting as the condemning agency. Those costs are then reimbursed back to the municipality. That's how it works.
Excellent. So if correct me if I'm misinterpreting. If eminent domain is in the redevelopment plan, eminent domain could only be executed with the consent of council.
Correct.
So even if eminent domain's part is part of the redevelopment plan, it's council who has the last say as to whether something is going to be done. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if council felt that there was something that shouldn't be